channel, and welcome back to another video. This video is kind of different than others because this video I will be explaining to you guys why I am writing my book. And the reason why I'm making a video for this is because a lot of person asks me, like, what motivates you to write the book? The name of the book is so powerful. Where do you get the idea from and all that? And I might not be going into details because my book is going to be published in December, so I don't want to give too much, but I'm just going to tell you guys what inspires me to write and why I choose that the title for my book right now, why I choose that specific title. My book, I don't know if all you guys know, but for those who ask, my book is entitled The Fight in Me, Taking the Leap, Leaving the Footprints, as a subtitle. And I first, the old idea, that title came to me because it's like throughout my life, it's like everything I have to fight for, whether it's at school, whether at church, whether it's friendship, whether whatever, there's always a fight. There's always something that I have to fight for. And I know most people can say, oh, it's just like my story because I have to fight to do this, but it's different. It's similar but so different. So I want to just answer the first question: why I am right, what inspires me to write this book. So 4 years ago, that was in 2016, I was in my third semester in college, and not third semester, my third year in college, and first semester, which was the September to December, that was a very rough semester for me, going over into second semester, which starts the January. Something happened at the house where I was staying, some family related things which I won't go into details, but because this is 4 years ago, and it has bring me 4 years for me to be able to talk about this or even have it in my book without crying or without breaking down. But that semester was a very rough one for me. The start of 2017, the January, something happened, family related, and it shakes my whole world up, and it had me like not being able to stay home. There was no peace, and it was just really hard in me. That semester I failed 2 courses which I have to resit. While I was here on the work and travel that summer, I came to the US that summer after, and it was just a rough year. I went from 130 pounds to 100 flat. I was so depressed. I was so stressed. And throughout that time, my main focus wasn't on a book. Just let me say, I know I wanted to write a book, but I was just like, you know what? I don't know who people have links. How people even write book? How people even get their book published? It was just an idea. And I remember, because I couldn't stay home, I would just go with my best friend. That's Renee. Then in college, I would go with her on her all-nighters. I have no reason to do an all-nighter because either my exams were finished or I got them covered. And I went with her on the UTech campus, that's the University of Technology campus, just to get away. And I remember one night, well, it was the morning now because we spent the whole night there. In the morning we came home and I fell asleep, and then in the midday, she told me, she and I was talking, and she looked at me, Renee looked at me, and she said, "Sure, the amount of things you go through in this life, you could have write a book." And just like that, it's like, I'm saying, I've endured and I've been through a lot of things, but that semester was my worst. everything adding up, making it wasn't just one scenario, and it wasn't just one instance or just one particular thing. It's just that a particular thing contributed more than the others, but it wasn't just one thing. And the way everything was going, and it was just like a complete disaster. And she looked at me and she said, "Sure, the way all your life, to everything I go on in your life, you can write a book, gal." And it was like instantly, I was like, "Whoa!" And I don't even know, like, if up to this day she knew that she's the reason why I'm actually writing this book. Before then, it was just like, well, we had a rough life growing up, my siblings and I, my family together. And I always tell myself, one day I probably write my story, because when I go through school, when I meet new friends and I tell people about my life, they don't believe me, because I don't act poor. I don't act like I'm in need. I could be in school and I could be hungry, but you're not gonna know. So people always think I have things. I don't know why. And it's like when I tell my story, I'm like, sometimes it really get tiring to be telling the same story over and over. So I always tell myself, one day I'm just gonna put my story in a book. But that afternoon when Rennie mentioned that the way things are going on in my life, gal, you could have write a book, that was just like, that was the last push I need. And even though that was 2017, well, 2016, 2017, and it's like 3 to 4 years after I'm writing the book, it is the main reason why. And I didn't know then what my title gonna be, or what word I'm gonna come up with. I didn't know. I just know that my book will be able to tell the story, what I've been through, and will be able to help someone if ever they found themselves in similar situations or worse. And I don't know, one day I was here, and this was earlier on in this year, and I was on Facebook, and I saw a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, published her second book. And I just laid down. I was like, wow. And I'm like, that's all I could say. I was just like, wow. And I remember messaging her, and I was like, oh my God, girl, I have to get your book. Congratulations. And I ordered her book like the month after. And I was just there, and I was like, what are you waiting on to write the book? Like the same book you said you were going to write 3 to 4 years ago. And one day, I sat down on the couch in the living room, and I started writing. And I got so confused that the first line of my book says, I don't know where the hell this part is gonna be in my book. Because it didn't sound like an introduction. It sounds like it belongs to somewhere in the body of the book, in some other places. And to date, I am at the 9th chapter of my book. I only have 1 chapter left. And that chapter is my marriage. And I can write that any day. But because my book is still on schedule for December, I'm not rushing it. But I remember when I just started, I said, I have no idea where the hell this part should be. And I remember my husband looking at it and laughing because he thinks it was funny. But honestly, I didn't know. And I started writing. And at the beginning, like, my husband would help me to correct, like, oh, don't start it like this. Don't. And it was like very annoying to me then, because I'm like, I think this is a pretty cool way how I'm starting it. And he said, oh, about paraphrasing it, and he would help me throughout all the time. And the minute, like, it took like a day or two. Like, he would give me some advice, and where I could start it, based on the audience I'm writing for and all that stuff. And I sat down one night. I remember that said, now I was going to my bed. I was praying. I was like, God, you know what? As much as how it is my story, I can't write this book if you don't tell me what to write. Like, I don't know where to, like, I just can't write this book without you telling me how to start this book, because every single word that's gonna come from this book is true. And I remember I sat there the other morning after waking up. It was kind of like a fight. It was literally a fight to like be consistent with writing. I remember every day I woke up, I would write that on my to-do board, to write. Today I'm gonna write. And as the days go by and it comes into months and everything, now I'm almost finished. And honestly, I can't say it has been a journey, because that journey would have already gone, because all I'm writing is just things that have happened and stuff that I've been through, and while encouraging someone to get through similar stuff. So I can't say writing my book has been a journey, because the moment I started writing, it just comes natural to me. And that was one of the things, because at first I was like, you know what, I have a cousin, she's an English and English literature high school teacher. I can pay her to help me. I know established authors. I have friends who have already published their books, who gave me links where I could just pay someone to write my book. None of those ideas ever never clicked, except for asking my cousin to help me. And then I don't really know what happened with my cousin. I think she got a job, and she was occupied. I was like, you know what? I'm not just gonna sit around. I'm just gonna, start writing until she's ready. And guys, I started writing, and I didn't even have to even holler at her anymore to say, hey, can you finish? Can you help me? I'm just like going, and I'm like, even if I had paid her or paid someone else to write that book, it wouldn't be my story. Because what would have happened is that I would have paraphrased my story to established authors, and then they would have write based on what I told them. How can you write a story based from a story? I mean, it's possible, but it's not so genuine, because someone can tell me a story and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna write from what you tell me, but you don't know all the details. I'm just giving you a summary of my life. I have to be the one who expound and tell you all the details. And that is one of my most proudest moments to date. Yes, it is. Writing my book is one of my proudest moments to date, and the reason being, the English language has never been my strong suit. Not in primary school, not in high school. I mean, I'm a good reader and I'm good at spelling bee. I come third in my primary school. And I was just in grade 4 competing against I was in grade 6 competing against grade 9 student. I think the youngest was one of my friend, Dion, and she was like in grade 4 and she was second place. And so the spelling and the reading and punctuation, those aren't my problem. It's putting my word out there to make sense. That has always been my problem with the English language. So fun fact, my best friend Tash, and Tash is good at the English language and literature, and I'm good at the math and the science subjects in high school. So when you talk about biology, chemistry, physics, info, foods, maths, accounts, you call my name. You talk about geography, social studies, religious education, English literature, English language. That's Tash strong suit. So I was going into this thing panicking my hell out, saying, I don't know if my words gonna be structured properly. What am I gonna do? And I'm just like, just not having it. I started writing and I started praying again, because ever since I decided I wanted to write this book, I've never taken God out of it and say, God, you know what, give me the words to write. Because I don't know about you, but there's nothing that I've ever put my hand to that I never asked God to like take control of before me, or give me direction, inspire me something. You might not be a spiritual person or whatever, but I'm just speaking what works for me. And I remember writing and writing. I'm like, what? I'm like, girl, you're not bad. I'm like, you're not bad at it. You're not bad at it. It's just that you haven't practiced yourself. And just like math, I love math to the point where I could be bored, and to occupy my time, I will sit down and do math. That's how I love math. And I realized that's the same thing for English. Like, you have to practice reading, and the more you read, my mom has never been to high school. And I remember she would tell me, she would be like, Shar, if you want to get good at this English language, you have to read more, open your vocabulary. I don't know where my mom knows that word from, but then she told me. And she was like, you have to read more, and then when you read more, you are familiar with other authors writing. And I was like, oh my god, if only I had listened to my mom then. Every now and then I try to read a book, but it has to be something along my lines, which is like romantic. I'm the person, I love to read romance novel, or I don't know, it's an exciting book. I don't like just read book just because. So yeah, so that's the main reason why I'm writing my book. And as I explained before, the title of my book, The Fight in Me, with the subheading, Taking the Leap and Leaving the Footprints, it's kind of like, for every single thing that I have attained, I have achieved, I've ever accomplished, I've never gone to it without putting up a fight to get to it, or putting up a fight to actually get it. And in my book, you will see how that breaks down to whether it comes to family, friendship, school, college, relationship. I've always have to be putting up a fight. And I don't know, this book is very interesting, and I can't wait for it to be released so that you guys can have your copy of it. You guys can share it with your friends and your family about it, about my story. And this is just one of the many books to come. And to my mom, to my dad, and my siblings, if y'all are watching, this book is actually dedicated to you. So you open the first page, it's gonna read, dedicated to my mom and dad and my siblings. And the reason why I dedicate this book to my direct family like that, there's no way I don't see where I could have been today. All that I've accomplished and everything with my life could have been possible without them. Every one of those struggles and every one of those fights I got through because of them. So it's only right to really dedicate this book to them. And I promised myself that every penny from this book, I wanted to do something for my parents. And I know that can never repay them for everything that they've done for me, but that's the least that I can do for them, like the actual least. So guys, thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to me explaining about my book. I don't want to ruin it by telling you guys anything in the book. As soon as you guys get your copy, you guys will understand what I'm saying and why The Fight in Me stood out and why I choose that title. So guys, as always, thank you for watching, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and tell a friend about tell a friend about the Barthol crew. And as always, thank you for watching.